Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got Alison Reeves on. She's from BigStateHomeBuyers.com, and always delighted to have a spokesperson for the program. Last moment, our good friend Brian wasn't able to join us, but glad to have Alison. And Alison, you have a colleague on from Big State as a guest today. Before you introduce your colleague, kind of give us an overview of what Big State is all about.
Sure. We provide seamless real estate solutions. And so what we do is buy houses from people that need to sell them quickly, whether they're inherited properties or distressed properties, or perhaps properties that landlords simply just don't want to have anymore or want to sell for tax purposes. And then we turn around and sell those properties to investors who will flip them or use them for rental properties.
Very good. And your guest?
Our guest is Amanda Gladin, and she is currently she's one of our sales specialists at Big State Home Buyers, meaning that she sells our acquired properties to investors. But formerly, she also worked in acquisitions, buying properties from people that needed to sell them. And so Amanda has a really well-rounded experience here at Big State Home Buyers. She also has a reputation in our office for being really good at dealing with people who are either harder to deal with, or if an unexpected issue comes up, people get really kind of confused and hurt. And so she's really good at dealing with sensitive situations. And so I wanted to ask her some questions about that.
Yeah, welcome to the show. I know that Brian describes you as a rock star for the company, and delighted to be able to spend a little time with you and learn more about what you do. First of all, tell us how long you've been with the business. Give us a little bit of background about you and as it relates to the company.
So I've actually been with Big State since last August. So I've actually almost been here an entire year. I actually did not come directly from a real estate background. I dabbled in it for a really long time as my own personal interest. I know that sounds kind of strange, but I really would sit at home and I would stay on HAR and I'd be there for hours. And I knew it was something that I, at one point in time or another wanted to eventually get into, but I hadn't quite jumped ship yet and made that a firm decision. And when that door opened, I'm not going to lie, I took it and ran with it. So that's where I am today.
Alison, your question?
Yeah, so one of my first questions is, and actually that's funny that she mentions that because Amanda did spend a ton of time as a hobby on HAR, and she's still one of our best here at Big State Home Buyers in doing the comps to price properties. So she really does have a lot of experience. And I wanted Amanda to first maybe tell us about an issue that came up that really threw a seller off and made them feel kind of confused and like they didn't know what was happening with the process. And then how, Amanda, did you deal with that?
I can actually give a few examples, and I actually want to take this from two different directions. A lot of the main concerns that any type of seller has, a lot of them come from either title-related issues or lender-related issues because they don't do this every day. They don't see the kind of things that we see every day. They don't know that, having a property that's inherited and finding out that they've left a homestead, exemption of 65 and over is going to cause for rollover taxes on, a property that they inherited 5 years ago, but unfortunately they never had that taken off. Or if there's a lender involved and, something comes up to where they basically end up doing something lender-related to where the property isn't going to close on time and they have to go through amendments. A lot of the times, those are the main reasons we have technical difficulties with sellers, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just because they don't see it every day. So those are, the main things that we see go wrong, or title-related issues, or whenever they're not used to the situation that, whenever you're selling your property, what all that really entails. They don't know the nitty-gritty and all of the little flags that come up along the way.
Yeah, that's
right.
Interesting. Let me ask, first of all, you've been here for about a year. How has the environment changed in terms of, selling and buyers? It seems to me things are picking up, but is that also the case for the investment arena? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. If you would have asked me a year ago, hey, I want to buy some properties, I want to buy them at 70% on the dollar, or hey, I want to get a really good deal on a property, so on and so forth, I would have said, oh yeah, we have those, they come in all the time, yeah, there's still properties that are sold at 75 cents on the dollar, and everybody would have been okay with that. Well, now we're actually at a 7-year high And actually, that's something that Hard just posted not that long ago, that this is actually the best market that we've been in the last 7 years. And even appraisers are having a difficult time even appraising properties because of the pure and simple fact that even over the course of the last just 60 days, they've made such a drastic jump in, market value that even they're having difficulty actually truly appraising the properties for what they would really sell for, what people are actually willing to pay for them. Mm-hmm. So the market is just changing so drastically right now that it's really causing a little bit of confusion on the appraisal side. But other than that, I mean, the market is really doing great right now. It's definitely a time for an investor to get in and purchase while they still can. And they're not going to necessarily, make the profits that they would have, but they would basically be dealing with more of the volume, rather than necessarily the profit margin.
Alison, go ahead.
Yeah, so for investors who are, there's a lot of people because of the market right now that are getting into real estate investing without having a lot of prior experience. And so for those kinds of people, how would, what's maybe one or two tips that you would give them in full disclosure? How do you coach a seller through this process where there might be unexpected issues that come up?
As long as you prepare them up front, we're going to go ahead and order the title commitment. This is an inherited property. A lot of times they just don't know. I mean, you don't really know what you don't know. And unfortunately, until you pull that title commitment and actually get things back, it's kind of like the medical field. What do they do in the medical field? They always prepare you for worst case scenario, right? Very similar in real estate, but a lot of people are so worried to actually, mention, there might be problems. But in all actuality, you end up being a better person when you actually state that there is possibilities of, things being on the title that they don't necessarily realize. And you just have to be okay with knowing that I'm going to be in full disclosure. I'm going to let you know everything you need to know up front. And these are just some of the things we've seen in the past. So let's just go ahead and pull the title commitment, and we'll see where we're at once we pull it.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're like already a minute over. I need to kind of wrap it up. But it sounds like, the good news is that the great folks there at Big State can help you navigate through any of these. And Amanda has demonstrated her experience in helping solve these problems. Again, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Want to encourage you to check out BigStateHomebuyers.com. That's BigStateHomebuyers.com. I'm Kevin Price. You're listening to The Price of Business.